We all hear from so many coaches and consultants and read in all these books about the need for processes in your business. Instructions that can be used to train and manage your employees as you grow, as you scale. Without them, your business is people dependent. And when you lose one of these people, everything suffers. It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And my guess is that that's also been your experience. And what they say is actually true. So you've probably tried to get some processes written and implemented. And you find out that it's not so easy. In fact, you've probably failed in that effort as well. Maybe you've even got a bunch of processes written, but people aren't following them, they're stale, they're outdated, they're not current, people can't find them. So you've lost hope in having a business that can work whether or not you're there. What we're going to focus on today is how to get your processes built, organized, and implemented. First, I want to talk about the 3 basic systems you need: people, process, and culture, because it's not just about processes. If you have a bunch of processes, but your people aren't capable of doing what needs to be done, well, that's obviously not going to work. If you have great people and no processes, well, there's sort of limits to what can be done. And if you have great people and you have a bunch of processes, but the culture of a process-dependent business hasn't been built, so your people, they're not following your processes, they're ignoring your processes, well, then that's not going to work either. So once I land this, I want to go into focusing on 5 key processes you need to build and implement a culture of a process-dependent business. And then I'm going to end with a 5-step plan for getting your processes organized and implemented. A brief bio on who I am. My name is Michael Mills. I'm one of the founders of Business Design Corporation, and I've been assisting entrepreneurs, helping them build the business of their dreams for more than 20 years. For 17 of those years, I was an eMyth consultant delivering Michael Gerber's eMyth Mastery program. But that program was so very theoretical. Our clients, they were spending tons of money and tons of time, and while there was a lot of good information in that program, they still weren't getting their processes implemented. So out of that work, we built a software application. It's called the TouchStone Business System. And we developed a program plan to make that happen, to simplify getting all of your business processes implemented. This is a proven system that we've done with hundreds of businesses, big and small, in all different types of industries, working with business owners and entrepreneurs just like you. So the goal is to make it easy to grow and expand your business without consuming your life, to create a foundation that you can use to create a business that gives you abundance and profit, one that can run smoothly and consistently and give you the time to do what you want to do. You see, your work, your business, it should be easy. It should be fun. You should have time. You should be able to focus. You should have success with order and control, not with chaos and being totally out of control. You didn't start your business so that you could be stressed out, be out of control, and overworked. You started your business because you were passionate about what you do. And you probably were doing it really well. So you wanted freedom and control, and you probably even wanted a ton of money. There's nothing wrong with that. So to have that, you need great people, you need great processes, and you need to have the culture of a process-dependent business so that your employees are enrolled in using your processes and keeping them current. So let's dive in. I want you to think of a process-dependent business, of your business. Think of a successful business as a 3-legged stool. On one leg, we're going to call it people or team. It's all about getting good people on the bus. So we all know about that. That's really important. So you start building a business of great people. But those people leave. And when they leave, what they did and how they did it leaves with them. If that's all you've got is great people, when they leave, all of their processes that were in their head leave with them. So as I said before, it's a couple of steps forward and then you're right back to where you started, except now it's even harder, it's crazier because you're busier and you have to do what they did. And you might not even know how they did it. Still, you got to have good people, okay? But good people is just one leg, and that one leg creates a very wobbly stool. So someone comes along, like me, and convinces you of the importance and value of processes. Makes you understand that you need these instructions. It makes total sense. So you get a bunch of processes. All these instructions that are required to train and manage your employees more effectively. So everyone knows what's expected of them and how to achieve those expectations so they know how to do what needs to be done. So that's the second leg of the three-legged stool. But that's not going to get you to where you want to go if your people aren't following your processes. And I don't believe that you can force your employees to follow your processes. You need to have employees who want to follow your processes. So this is what we could call culture, how we do it here. Your employees need to want to follow your processes. Your employees need to want to help you innovate and implement your processes and keep them current. So this then is the third leg of the three-legged stool. This is what stabilizes everything. When your people are willingly following and innovating your processes, now you've built a culture that can thrive, a culture that defines how we do it here. Once you know how to make that happen, you can have a business that can grow to be as big or bigger than you've ever imagined without having that business encroach on your life and livelihood. A business like this gives you the time and the freedom to do what you want and love to do, inside or outside of work. That's what successful entrepreneurship is supposed to feel like. So, how do you make that happen? There are 5 key processes that can be used to implement your culture. It's all about implementing this culture, building this culture, that can be used to enroll your employees in the way we do things here. First of all, you want to have a recruiting and hiring process because most people, when they're needing to hire someone, they can't stand it because they don't have a process. If you have a process, it makes it that much easier. It also begins from the very beginning to enroll that employee in a system. They see how organized and systematic you're doing things. So imagine a recruiting and hiring system where the first thing you do is you put an ad out on Indeed.com or ZipRecruiter or something like that. And then when someone responds to that ad, they get an email that says we'd like to schedule a brief telephone appointment. And the brief telephone appointment happens and it's very simple. It's 5 minutes. So first of all, in your process, you're going through all of these resumes because you don't need, if you get 100 resumes, you don't want to make 100 telephone calls. So there's a step in your process where you're prioritizing the resumes and going through them. And then you schedule, 15, 20 of the top resumes that you got. You schedule telephone interviews. And these telephone interviews should be 5 minutes long, very quick. It's you design 3 questions that will really help you understand who this person is. From those 3 questions, you find 3 or 4 people to have a one-on-one interview with. You don't really need to have a dozen interviews. And you should have more than 1 interview or 2 interviews. If you're having 1 interview, what's happening? You don't have anybody to compare that to. If you have 2 interviews, it's either him or her or him or whatever. You're choosing between 2 people. You should have at least 3 interviews. But I would say that you don't need to have more than 4 or 5 interviews. In that interviewing process, you have a set of questions that you ask each and every one of those people, and those questions are dependent upon the position that this person is being hired for. If they're a manager, there's a certain set of questions. If they're a tech, there's a certain set of questions and experience that you're looking for. You walk through this, you score them on the questions, and you send an offer letter to the person with the highest score, and you send a denial letter, or whatever you want to call it, a thanks but no thanks letter to the other people you interviewed, the other 2, 3, or 4 other people that you interviewed. But you're going to keep those resumes aside, and in your letter, which is going to be a standard template, part of your process, you're going to say, we may get back to you because we're a growing company and we really appreciate it, blah, blah, blah. So now you have the recruiting and hiring process. Process number 2, and there's much more to it, but I'm just skimming through these. Process number 2, onboarding. Before that employee gets there, there's a checklist that you go through. Check, check, check. W-9s or W-4s, W-2s. I'm not an HR guy, so I don't know what they all are. Do you have a computer for them? Do you have a cell phone for them? Do you have a tablet for them? Do they have logins to the computers? If you're using ServiceTitan, do they have a login to ServiceTitan? Do they have their email account set up? Do you have a uniform for them? Do you have business cards for them, if anybody ever uses business cards anymore? But there's a set of things that you do for each position in your company. So you might have 3 or 4 or 5 sets of checklists that you go through before the employee gets there. When the employee arrives, it's all about onboarding and orienting. So you meet them at the door. You're expecting them. You hand them their business cards and shake their hand and welcome them. You take them around. You show them the facility. You introduce them to everybody. Previously, everybody got an email to say that, John Smith is coming. He's the new hire. He's going to be the new tech. Isn't this great? Be sure to welcome him when he comes by your desk. I'll be introducing him to you. And so everybody knows who John Smith is. And John Smith, imagine what John Smith is going to think. He had this amazing interview process that was very systematic, and now he's got this incredible onboarding process. He's going to see how systematic things are. So you onboard him. Checklist. Check, 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 check. Now you start his training. When you train him, you're going to walk him through all of the processes that are on his job description. Again, this is something that's going to take a couple of weeks prior to him coming on board, or if you've never done it. But if you have done it, it's all there from the last time you trained, so it's simple. You walk him through each of the processes on his job description and teach him all of the process tools. If you're using a tool like TouchStone, the TouchStone business system, this is all set up for you. So you can track what you've trained, and you give them all a login. When they log in, all of their processes are served up for them. There's no searching for processes anymore. If he's a tech, these are all the processes a tech gets. Check, 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 check. I've trained him on them. Fred, log into TouchStone, everything's there. There are no longer any excuses for why he doesn't know how to do what he needs to do, because it's all right there. That's training. Simple. Evaluation. There are 2 parts to evaluation. There's the probationary period where depending on the complexity of the position, you're going to focus on, are they a good fit? Do they match your culture? Do they believe in your purpose, your values, your mission, your big, hairy, audacious goal? Do they know the job? Are they succeeding at the job? So this might be a 30-day probationary period. It might be a 60-day. It might be a 90-day. It really depends on the complexity of the job. Some of your positions you'll know in 30 days. Some of your positions are more complex and you need 60 days or 90 days. But this is a go or no-go situation. If you're at the 30-day mark and you're sort of going, I don't know, this person, maybe they'll work out. No, you should know. If you have doubt, I would say that what's going on is you're saying, I just don't want to go through the recruiting and hiring process again. But if you have a system, if you have these processes, it's easy. Just let them go and just run the process again. You can even go back to the resumes that you got, or the top phone calls that you did, or the top interviews that you did, and bring them back in for a second interview and say, hey, we want to meet with you again. Nothing wrong with that. So it's very easy to do. And you have a checklist and a process to help you through this evaluation period. But there should be a 30, 60, 90 day no-go, go situation. And if it's a go, you go on. And now becomes the management process. So I said that there were 5 processes: recruiting and hiring, onboarding, training, evaluation, and management. Yes, a management process. We actually have lots of management processes. In fact, each of those processes that I just went through are management processes, but this one is called the one-on-one. At Nexstar, they call it the weekly coaching meeting. I think that's the name for it. But we have that process built into TouchStone. And by the way, there's a whole Nexstar library built into TouchStone. So you can download these processes from the Nexstar library. These are the actual processes that Nexstar wrote. You can download them into your TouchStone account, and then you can customize them to make them work for you. And there are hyperlinks back to the videos and all of the content that you need in the Nexstar library, provided you're a Nexstar member, and obviously all of you here are. So that's easy. The management one-on-one process is where you focus again on obviously questions, issues, projects, things like that. But there's more to it than just that. Most managers, they don't know how to manage, so all they do is they ask about projects, they ask about questions, issues. In the one-on-one meeting, what you're going to do is, yes, you are going to ask about those things, but you're also going to check in with them. You're going to do acknowledgement and recognition. So let's say, for example, Fred, great employee, he's been coming to work every day, he's incredibly diligent, he's here early every day, but this week something's weird. He's come in late every day, and you are trying to figure out what's wrong. Instead of like just getting mad at him and saying, "Why are you late?" What you want to do is, in your one-on-one meeting, you're going to check in with him. You're going to say, "Hey, Fred, you've been punctual all this time, and you've been really up and bubbly, and I'm sort of, is everything okay?" And maybe you find out that he's got a 14-year-old golden retriever that's on his last legs, and he's really upset about it. So, oh man, bummer. I'm sorry about that. So you're recognizing them for who they are. That happens in the weekly coaching meeting, the one-on-one management meeting. There's also recognition that happens. Like one of your techs comes back and has sold 3 or 4. Every day they sold a full HVAC furnace system. Whoa. You want to recognize them for doing that. And very specific. Don't just say, "Hey, Fred, great job." No, you did 5 sales. Do you know how much money you created this year or this month or this week or whatever it is? You recognize them for what they did. That's recognition, very specific. The third thing that you're going to do, so there's all the questions and issues and projects that you ask them about. There's acknowledgement and recognition. And you don't do acknowledgement and recognition in every meeting. And you don't do process review in every meeting. But you make it part of the meetings on an ongoing basis. So once a month, maybe, once every other month, maybe twice a month, I might say to my employee, "Is this still how we do the present process? Are we still doing it? This is how we have it in TouchStone. Are we still doing it this way? Can you go through the process as if you didn't know how to do it and tell me, are we still doing it this way?" And then Fred comes back next week and says, "No, there were some updates to Service Titan, or there were some changes that we've made, so we do it differently." So now you innovate the process with that employee. Well, tell me, what do you do? They're the ones that use the processes. They're the ones that can tell you how things have changed or things are still the same. So your weekly coaching meetings need an agenda. They need an outline. And the weekly coaching meetings in TouchStone have that outline for you, where you're going to talk about projects, you're going to talk about goals and objectives, you're going to talk about recognition, you're going to talk about acknowledgement, you're going to talk about processes and job descriptions and things like that. Those are all part of the weekly coaching meeting. So that's a management process. Okay, so those are 5 key systems that will get any employee off on the right foot. They will have experienced what a process-dependent business feels like. And you should know at any point along the way whether or not this employee is enrolled. If they're not, again, as I said earlier, you go back to the drawing board, you go back to the recruiting and hiring process and just start running these systems again. So now let's talk about the 5-step plan for business systemization. How do you get all of these processes organized, documented, assigned to people? How do people even know what to do? You might have, 300-400 processes in your business. How do you make that happen? The first thing you want to focus on is what I will call vision and org chart, organization chart. You want to have a very clear understanding, a documented understanding of where you want this business to be, say 5-7 years from now. And I'm sure that you've worked on this with your strategic coach at Nexstar. This is critical. You've got to get it written down. And actually in our TouchStone account, you will make it a public process that's always front and center, your mission, purpose, and values, because it's a great management tool, making sure that everybody's always adhering to your values, your purpose, and they want to be on that bus. They want to go to that destination where you want to take them. But you'll take that vision and you'll create an organizational structure of that future vision. It's really important to do this because your organization chart, it's part of TouchStone. It becomes this dynamic strategic tool for growing your company. Who do we want to hire next? Your org chart will tell you who you want to hire next, what they need to do, how much it's going to cost you to hire them, how long it's going to take, and how long it's going to take for them to achieve their expectations. All of this will be built into your TouchStone account in the organizational structure. So vision and org chart, that's your first step. And actually, if you're working with us as a client, we build this for you. So it doesn't take any time at all. The second step of the 5-step plan is to identify your processes. So we will break your business down into 4 key functions. You have processes for management and strategy. So how do you guide the business from where you are today to where you want to get to? That's one key function. You have all these back office operational procedures for finance, admin, HR, IT. We call that running the business. You have all of the processes that you do for your clients. Customer service, client fulfillment, how you actually do an install, how you actually do a tech service call and fix something. You have those processes. And then you have sales processes. So Nexstar has postcards, you have SEO stuff, you have website, you advertise on Facebook, you do YouTube videos, you have signage on your trucks and vans, you keep your trucks clean and so it presents an image. These are all processes. So those are your sales and marketing processes. So we take your business and we divide them into 4 key functions. Of course, you could simply list all of your processes in one big list, but it's hard to think of them all when you're doing it that way. So organize your business in these 4 key functions. And then start thinking about each of those key functions. Well, what do we do in sales? Well, we create Facebook advertising. So all we're doing at this point is we're saying Facebook advertising. We're not actually documenting how to write a Facebook ad. All we're doing at this point is we're naming the processes. We do Facebook advertising. We do YouTube videos. We do postcards. We do this. We do that. We do this. And we just start naming all of these processes. You are essentially creating a table of contents of all of your processes. Okay? That's step 2. And you're going to move on from your sales and marketing processes to your financial, administrative, HR, IT type processes. You're going to go to your client fulfillment processes. That's probably the quadrant of your business that you know the best. And then you're going to have management and strategy processes, and you'll be able to identify all of those processes. And again, we have a library of these that you can choose from so that you can fill in the blanks. We usually recommend that you think of your own business first, but at some point you run out of ideas and you can go to our library and say, oh yeah, well we do blogging, for example. We should have a blogging process. Oh yeah, we do trade shows. We should have a trade show process, things like that. So vision and org chart, identify your processes. The next thing you want to do is you want to link all those processes to the boxes on your org chart. Link, 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 link. This process is done by this position. This process is done by this position. And then you want to add all of your employees and link those employees, those individual employees, to boxes on your org chart. So when you're linking processes to your org chart, boxes, when you're linking these processes to boxes on your org chart, you're actually creating a job description, a set of processes that someone is going to follow, and these are the processes that will be used to train this specific employee. In Nexstar, it's that internal job description, not the external job description. The external job description is used to hire someone, part of your recruiting and hiring process. The internal job description is a set of processes that someone in that capacity is going to be held accountable to. So think of that. You have maybe 300 or 400 processes, but when Fred logs in and he's a tech, the 8 or 12 processes that he needs are right there. Bam, 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 bam. He doesn't have to go searching for his processes. They're all right there. So that's step 3. So vision and org chart, identify your processes, and then link your processes and add your employees and link those processes. Link your processes to boxes on your org chart and link your employees to those boxes so everybody has a set of things that they're held accountable for. Step 4, prioritize your processes. At this point, you're going to have 100, 200, 300, 400 processes. That's overwhelming. What am I going to do? How am I going to get all these processes written? Well, if you're about to hire a new tech, focus there. So there's 3 different ways that we typically say you can prioritize your processes. 1, I'm about to hire a new tech. Let's focus on those 8, 10, 12 processes that the tech does, that are on the ones that have been linked to the tech job, or the tech box on the org chart, the tech's job description. Let's focus on those 7, 8, 10, 12 processes. That can take you, 2 weeks to write, something like that. It shouldn't take very long. It's only 12 processes. If I told you you had 500 processes to write, you're going to go bonkers. If I tell you you only have 10 processes to write, you're going to go, well, I can do that. That's easy, right? Okay. So you prioritize your processes. One way, are you about to hire someone? Focus there. Another way, is there a department in your business that needs attention? So it might be your warehouse. It might be inventory control. It might be training. It might be customer service. It might be CSR. It might be DSR. It might be installation coordination, something like that. Is there some area in the business that needs attention? Again, you're going to come up with 10, 12 processes that you can focus on. You don't have to worry about the fact that there are 500 processes that have to be written. There are only 10. Let's focus there. And again, once you get those 10 processes written, step back, reprioritize, and get your processes written. And by the way, you, as the business owner, you do not have to write all of your processes. Processes should be written by your managers. It is a manager's responsibility to get those processes written, and they don't even have to write all of their processes. They just have to make sure that their processes get written. So I might have a tech, some rock star, who's really good and really knows what he does, and he can actually write the process for me. Maybe not a tech, but sometimes yes. Sometimes a tech can do it. But it is the manager's responsibility to get that done. And if you want, we'll do it for you. So we have a whole program that we've been running with a few of Nexstar members that we call Clone Your Rockstar. I'm not going to speak to that right now, but basically what we do is we interview your rockstar. Could be a tech, it could be an installation coordinator, it could be a DSR, a CSR. We interview them, we walk them through the prepare, the greet, the explore, the present stages, and we document it all for you. So now you have a full training plan for your tech or DSR or CSR, whatever position you need us to do that for. We call it Clone Your Rockstar, but you can feel free to send me an email about that if you're interested. So it could be a specific position, it could be a specific department in your business, or it could be stuff that you're doing as the owner or a senior manager in the organization. I mean, maybe you don't do this, but we see it happen. We see business owners who are doing payroll, who are doing invoicing. I don't think that happens in many Nexstar companies because they've gotten beyond that. But there may be stuff that you're doing, visiting projects, visiting installations, jetting out to the hardware store to get some supplies for one of your tech crews because they don't have it at the 11 o'clock call. You shouldn't be doing that stuff. You probably don't even know you do it. So a great exercise, if you're feeling overwhelmed, or if you ever say, I might as well do it myself because it's going to take me so long to explain someone else how to do it, I just might as well do it myself. No, you should make a process for that and delegate it. But if you are overwhelmed, if you're not able to run your company, if you're not able to spend time on strategy and management and focus on your KPIs, then there's got to be a bunch of stuff that you're doing that you shouldn't be doing. And there's a great process in the TouchStone library that helps you log your time so that you can actually see what you're doing. You're going to find out stuff that's going to blow you away. You're unloading a truck or something like that. You shouldn't be doing that stuff. So 3 possible ways to prioritize the writing of your processes. Who are you going to hire next? Is there a department or section of the company that needs support? Or what do you do that you need to get delegated to someone else? 5th step is the writing and the implementation of the processes. So I spoke to this a moment ago. I basically said that you don't have to write all of those processes. You need to manage the writing of those processes. So you need to control and delegate the writing of those processes along with your management team. And then you need to follow up. And then in your weekly coaching meetings with your managers, you need to make sure that that they're implementing those processes, that they're actually getting it done. And there you have it. You have a business that's becoming process dependent. And I like to use the word becoming because getting all of your processes documented and implemented, well, it takes time and it happens organically over months. But now you have a plan for getting it done and you have management systems for enrolling your people to help you make it happen. I mean, your people, they're going to get it. They get the value of having processes and why processes are part of your business, part of your organization. They believe in your culture, how we do it here. Now you can scale your business to be as big as you want it to be without it encroaching on your life. So, in review, remember there is the 3-legged stool: people, process, culture. Remember, there are 5 key management systems to enrolling your employees in your culture, how we do it here: recruiting and hiring, onboarding and orientation, training, evaluation, and management. Remember the 5-step plan for getting all of your business processes organized and implemented. You've got vision and organizational chart, the creation of those. You've got process identification. Remember, that's like the table of contents of all of your processes. You've got linking your processes and linking your employees to boxes on that organizational chart to create these internal job descriptions so it's easy for your employees to find what they need when they need it. You've got prioritizing the writing of the processes. Remember, focus on just a few at a time. A position you're about to hire, a department within your organization, or maybe things that you need to delegate. So focus on 8, 10, 12 at a time. Get those written. Reprioritize, write, repeat. And then finally, manage the writing of your business processes. Set goals for your managers and follow up with them, and ensure in your weekly coaching meetings that reporting employees are following your processes, that they believe in their value. So I hope this has been valuable. I hope it's been informative. Again, my name's Michael Mills. Our company is Business Design Corporation. Our process implementation tool is called the TouchStone Business System. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions or if you're interested in getting your business processes organized and implemented so you too can have the business of your dreams. I wish you well.